guys, welcome back to Z Creations. Today I'm going to be talking about how you can use this online editor to really edit your photos professionally, because quite a few of the functions in Lightroom and in Photoshop are actually in the simple online editor. So if you're a new photographer, if you're just editing photos for Instagram, it's great to have because it's completely free. So what we do over here is we pick this part right here, open image from computer, because we're going to be getting our image from the computer. Um, just to let you know, there's a newer version of the Pixlr editor, but it has a lot of filters. And usually when you're trying to edit pictures professionally, we don't use like a lot of filters and that type of stuff because it messes with a lot of functions in the picture. So I just want to take you right to the basics. So this is the older version of the Pixlr. It does give you an option on the website whether you want to use the older or the newer version. So we're gonna come here and I'm just gonna choose a portrait. I know a lot of these aren't portraits, but I'll try and choose a portrait that's easy to work with. Okay, I think I'm gonna try and go with, I like this one too. Let's go. First function I'm going to talk about is the crop. I want to crop this image further so it looks more like a portrait. I don't want to bring the hands and whatnot. So that's what I'm going to try and do. So we're going to see how much we can do that. And wait. So let's see right here. So this is it. Yes. Okay, I'm gonna crop it a little more. Just from this side right here. Just a teeny weeny bit. Okay, yes. Okay, so now what we do is we can just go close up on the image. And we're gonna start with color adjustments. It's not as clear as it was before because again we cropped it, but obviously we haven't lost too much quality. Like we can still see her face pretty clearly. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go under adjustments. So over here you could actually like open up a new image and then continue editing and save too and print as well. But over here, this is where we do like most of our edits, and in this box right here. Okay, so I start with brightness and contrast all the time. Because this picture has a lot of white, I don't want to like do too much brightness, just because I want to play with the curves layers and see what I can do with that. I don't work with hue and saturation right from the get-go because once again, like, I just try to lower it a little bit just so I can work more with the colors that I have there, and I can just, I guess, influence them more, have more power over them if I just desaturate a little bit. I always like to do that, but I don't like to play too much with the hue. As you can tell, it's not the best thing to play with because even a little difference makes a huge difference. So what I do is I go under, we start with curves. Curves is the best thing to start with because it's basically like a more complex version of contrast and brightness. And this is very important. This is just a graph where you could like basically influence the brightness of the image and whatnot. So I'm going for more of an edgy look for this picture. But I don't want to overexpose it and I don't want to over contrast it either. I'm gonna go under the red tones and just add a few more red tones. Just don't overdo it. I don't like to work too much with greens, but I do like to work with the blues. It just depends on what actually ends up looking nicer. So when I do play with any of these curves layers, especially the color ones, it could go two ways. It could end up being really nice or it could end up looking really bad. So it's really about just like practicing and seeing what really looks nice. Change the settings up here with where they have presets where they increase contrast, and then you do that, and then look, here's the difference with that. So they have some presets you can also try, and you can also put in your own edits and then put the preset, and so you just get a combination of different results. The possibilities are endless. Then we go under this is levels. We're also working in contrast and brightness once again, trying to give more of like more of the contrast to the image. And here you could also work with colors where you could like make them pop out more. But usually I don't like to work with the color window too much when it comes to levels. I just like to work with these blacks just to see which details I want to bring out and which ones I don't. Especially this end part where I kind of just add more of a brightness just so the face is highlighted more. And then we go under color balance. So color balance, you're basically working with your reds. You don't want to go too dramatic with anything. It's honestly the little things that you do that really build up. And if you don't like something, you could always just go to the top and be like, okay, yeah, back to normal edits. And then we have exposure right here. I don't like to use this in every image. There's only a couple of images that I use this exposure function because I don't really like it. It overexposes the image sometimes. But I do like the way this is making her skin look, so we're gonna go with okay for this one. Then we go to hue and saturation. I usually like to bump up the vibrance more than the saturation. So we're back again. Okay, now we've done a little bit of hue and saturation. We're going to go to this part right here, and we're going to go under Gaussian blur. Yes. Okay, so this one right here. To stick with Gaussian blur just to add a little bit of blur to the photo. And the next tools we're going to talk about are these side tools. So this is the lasso tool. Like, let's say you want to edit her lips specifically. I'm so bad at outlining this. And then you could just go to adjustments, and what we'll do is it'll only affect that area. Do you get what I mean? So like, let's cancel that. Let's cancel that. So next thing I work after when I've worked on the overall photo is I like to go and work on the skin. Obviously, we also use the dodge tool, which makes things whiter. Okay, just inside the eye a little bit, and maybe a little bit in the makeup area. So I'm essentially trying to enhance the makeup here. That's what I'm trying to do. And I know you go really close into these images, but it really helps to just go closer. Add a little bit of light to places that need light, don't overdo it. And even the opacity or the exposure, just lower it if you need to. And its effect will be lowered. And then we're gonna sharpen this area right here. Okay, just around the pupil. And then the eyelashes, right? And we just want to define the eye a little more in the makeup here too. We're working on the makeup like that. I mean, you don't have to go that detailed into every one of your pics, Um, I just like to get these nitty-gritty things into my picture. And now we're just highlighting the face. She has highlight on, but we're like trying to make it pop a little more so it stands out in the pic. That's what we want. Then we have, obviously this person doesn't really need any fixtures in the skin, like it's all clear. But let's say you want to fix something. We have this spot healing tool that looks like a bandage here. You could use that to really fix it. These types of areas, I guess, if you want to. Right? So, obviously you don't want to go too deep into like near the nose, because that area, it can just really mess up with it, and it's just, the colors will just look off. So don't do too much of that. Don't overdo it. Just things that are very noticeable, and only if you need it or if you want to do it. It's definitely not mandatory. I'm gonna use the lasso tool because I just want to work on her lips a little more. But before that, we're gonna use this dodge tool. And we're seeing this full view image. You can leave it here, or you can continue editing it with your color adjustments. Usually I like to review my color adjustments again, and one more tool I wanted to talk about was the blur tool. So you can use this to blur things. I highly recommend not using this to edit or retouch. Retouch the skin, please, because it shows and it doesn't look that great. Like, this is the blur tool. I know it's not very obvious, but it does blur. Alright, so we set that right here, and you can see all your actions here, and you can make more layers, and you can save the previous layer and whatnot. But the blur tool isn't something I use quite often, but if I do, I don't know what purpose I usually use it for, because I like to use this for simple retouching. I don't really like to retouch extensively, although that is a good skill to have as a photographer. I feel it's important, but obviously I don't use it in my own personal style. I just find like it's not as authentic. It just makes the picture look a little less authentic. So color vibrance, I just make the color vibrance go up because I really like color vibrance instead of the saturation, and this really allows my pictures to look the way I want them to look, or specifically for my style. And then I really wanted to do the Gaussian blur, but I thought I'd let it go because I changed my mind. I don't know if I really like the way it looks, so let's see again. I'm gonna try doing a little more curves.